So I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to our October Oak Grove Community Council general business meeting. It's good to see everyone. Joseph Edge, our chair, is unable to be with us tonight. He might pop in at the end of another meeting he had to be at, and if not, we'll figure out how to muddle through everything together. I'd like to begin by introducing the board. And again, my name is Valerie Chapman, and I am the vice chair of the Community Council Board. Rich?
Hi, so got to admit some people first. This is Rich Nippon. I am a general board member. I live 3 blocks due south of the Fred Meyer in Oak Grove.
And Jane?
Jane Civiletti, the treasurer, and I live on Fair Oaks Avenue.
And Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Elliott, and I live off of Concord Road at Southview.
Well, we're going to have everyone introduce themselves and give us an idea about where in the Oak Grove community you live, the street you live on, or some marker. But first, I'd like to ask if there is anyone that is new to our meeting. They have never been here before.
That's me.
Neil. Okay, Neil, welcome. And where are you from? And tell us something.
Well, I live just off of Concord and Oatfield. We moved here in November from another place in Oak Grove, but yeah, I just kind of ran across this. I met Thelma the other day at the Elks Lodge, and we were talking about to get involved with the community, and I found this and figured I'd come and say hi and see how it's all going.
Well, welcome, and thank you, Thelma, for remembering to invite him. So, let's just go around. Linda, do you want to start?
I'm Linda Seals, and I live at the end of Woodland Way.
Brian?
I'm Brian Goodrich, and I live every third day at 2930 Oak Grove Boulevard, the fire station.
And Craig?
Hi, I'm Craig Van Valkenburg. I'm over here at Willamette View, and sorry I've missed a few meetings, but it's nice to be back tonight.
Good to have you. Cole?
Hey y'all, Cole Merkel, he, him, his pronouns. This is Saffron. We are just off of Courtney and River, and I am here tonight actually as part of my day job to give a presentation. So thanks so much.
Great. And Diane?
Hi, I'm Diane Alves. I sadly do not live in your area, but I am the executive director at Clackamas County Arts Alliance, which you'll hear more about.
Great. Nice to have you. Pam?
I'm Pam Horan, and I live at Rose Villa.
And Suzanne?
I'm Suzanne Wolf, and I live on Southeast East Avenue near Risley and McLaughlin Boulevard.
And Baldwin, and you're sideways, your picture.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm sideways, but I'm Baldwin Vanderbilt, and I live on Neff Road, 3 doors west of Stringfield Park.
Tom?
I'm Tom Hogan, and I live on Oatfield between Concord and Thiessen. And we're the house with the lamppost. You happen to be driving by Oatfield, on Oatfield.
Good. Anna?
Sorry, my cursor was not playing along with me. Hello, it's good to see you all. It's been a while since I've been here, and it's really fun to see all my neighbors here. I live off of Oatfield and Evergreen, and I also am here to present tonight.
Nice to have you. Sarah?
Yeah, hi. I live off of Southeast River Road. I'm technically, I think, on the border, closer or in Jennings Lodge, but I was born and raised in Oak Grove, and I also do work in the Oak Grove area. So happy to be here.
Great, we'll claim you.
Thank you.
Chris.
Hey everyone, apologize, I don't have my camera on tonight, but Chris Simons, I live on Southeast Whipple Avenue. Good to be here.
Nice to have you. Dave.
Excuse me, Dave Novak, I live at Rose Villa.
Welcome. Sue Monahan, is that? Sue, are you there?
Well, if you're looking for
Yes,
Bob,
I'm here.
I'm having some technical issues between two computers and an iPhone, so I'm about ready to get the calibration hammer out and wreck everything. So, but yeah, I live on Southeast Laurie, right next to Rose Villa.
Okay.
Sue Conahan, Parkview Circle.
Okay. Welcome, both of you. Carolyn.
Hi there. I am on Chestnut Street.
Hey.
Near Oak Grove, downtown.
All right. And Thelma?
Thelma Hagen Miller. I live on Southeast Westview, just south of Concord.
Welcome. Karen?
Hello, I'm Karen Oberding, and I am on Mulberry, just off of River Road.
Great, good to have you. Heidi?
Yes, hi, Heidi Bullock, she, her pronouns. I actually technically live in Jennings Lodge, but I'm very close to the border. I'm just south of Nith, off of Hillside Drive. I'm here just as your representative of the Oak Lodge Water Services, so I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. I think I got everyone, so let's move ahead with our meeting. We sent out minutes with the agenda, and so we want to check on our regular meeting attendance and hope that people had an opportunity to look at the minutes, and particularly to verify if we were able to capture the fact that you were there. If you were not on the minutes, that's how we know. And just to let Neil know, everyone who lives in Oak Grove is automatically a member of the Oak Grove Community Council. If you want to be a voting member, we ask you to attend 3 meetings before becoming a voting member, so you kind of get a chance to know what's going on. So are there any corrections to the minutes or updates dates in particular about attendance?
I'll move that we adopt the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, is there anyone opposed to that? Then I think we're unanimously have passed the minutes from last time. Jane, will you give us a treasurer's update?
Certainly. Our treasury has taken in donations since our last minute of $110. This was all donated by the board members, and this was in relationship to the request from HDOG, the historic downtown Oak Grove, to provide some funds for their Halloween event that is going to occur pretty soon, the day before Halloween. And so we were decided as a board to make some contributions, and if anyone else in the council would care to make contributions, they can be a big contact, actually, Suzanne Wolf, who's here at the meeting, to do so. This brings our current balance to $1,686.19.
Thank you. And again, if people would like to contribute not only to HDOG, and I'm going to let Suzanne talk about that later, but to our Oak Grove Community Council, the best way to do that, Jane, is how
Is at any On Point Community Credit Union. You can just go up to any teller and tell them you would like to make a donation to the community council. They will know who we are and how to do that. Or you can contact me directly and I will take cash or check there. I'll put a little message in here of my email in case you want to do that.
Great, okay. And Jane, you're keeping track of attendance and my husband is here tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of attendance, I also wanted to ask Bob Bohannon, is your wife present also? Or are we having two of you there?
Just me.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Well, with that, thank you. We're ready to move on with our agenda tonight. And we have a number of presenters that will provide us with, I hope, an interesting meeting. And we are going to begin with Diane Alvis, who is the Executive Director of the Clackamas County Arts Alliance. So, and I'd ask everyone else if you can mute yourself and keep us muted while other people are presenting. That prevents feedback. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Valerie. I'm going to go ahead and send my contact information in case anybody wants to reach me afterwards. So I'll just drop that in the chat. Welcome, everybody. I'm super excited to come and present to you all about the Clackamas County Arts Alliance. For folks that maybe have been involved for a while, you probably know a little bit about the Arts Alliance because I know we were active in the trolley trail and other public art that is around your town. So what I really want to share with you today is we have spent the last several months, 10 months now, doing some strategic planning, some strategic direction conversations. We decided to do a whole new rebrand because the organization has been around for 28 years with the same logo pretty much and the same mission. And not that our mission is changing much, but we thought it needed a little spruce up and clarification. We also took the opportunity to do a brand new logo, which better reflects sort of where we're going in the future, and a new website. And we are actually going to launch our website on Monday, but it's close enough to being done that I wanted to show you a couple of things. So I'm going to share my screen because I think that's also the best way to sort of just talk you through the Arts Alliance. And then I'd love to, if you have questions, I'll save a little bit of time afterwards and you all can ask some questions. So let me share my screen and hopefully this works because, sometimes this all works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So let's see if I can make this work. It's not. And when you come in, there's actually this really interactive, we've done animation on our logo. So this is the new logo, Clackamas Arts Alliance. We're not changing our name. It's just that a lot of folks think we're part of the county. And way back in the day when we all started the organization, we were part of the county for a few years and then spun off, and we are currently our own and have been for more than 25 years now, our own nonprofit. Oh, there goes the animation. So we did this animation for the launch of the new website. And so it's kind of just a really fun way to kind of draw your attention to it and who we are and what we're all about. So there's the new website. We're super excited. We are, and our tagline has been for a while, keeping arts and culture center to life in Clackamas County. And we work across the whole county. So we have activities going on all along. And we support all arts and culture. So that's what this is going to talk about. I can scroll down a little bit. As I said, we keep arts and culture central to life, and that means we look at being part of the heart of the community around creative artists, makers, actors, singers, writers, and everyone who's contributing to the vitality and the places where we live and work and play. So, and obviously you can always donate to us. But this is the main page I'm going to stay on for a few minutes because this is where some of the activities that we decided to do or not do in our new rebrand. And that is we see ourselves as champions where we support the creatives and culture organizations, providing a path to opportunities for both funding as well as helping them show their art and all different kinds of things. And then we're also an advocate. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but we, in this early, I don't know, in the winter, it seems like we've been about a year ago, we created a new committee structure. And part of the reason we did that is we wanted to hear from individuals around the county that represent different parts of the arts and culture that we represent. We want to hear directly from you all. What did you need? What kind of support? How could the Arts Alliance help you do a better job or support you in a better way? And so the committees we created we have a fine arts committee, a literary arts committee, which Tom is part of, if you want to ask Tom about that. Performing arts, we have an advocacy committee, and then arts groups and councils, because there's a lot of arts commissions and groups and councils that have sprung up again or reinvigorated around the county. And they didn't really have a place where they could all meet and share information and share what they were doing. So the great thing about that is that gives people from all around the county an opportunity to come talk to the Arts Alliance and have us understand not only what they need and what kind of support they need, but they're supporting each other, which has been really great. And then we're a connector. We build bridges between arts and culture groups, local businesses, governments. We help develop mutually beneficial partnerships, collaborations. And so you will see, and I'm going to come back here just a little bit, the shape of our new logo is the megaphone shape. And that's really if you've ever done these branding exercises, that's a word that came up over and over. How can we amplify? How can we increase? How can we generate and connect all of the things that are going on around the county? And so we see that as our role. And so all the activities that we do are things that'll lead us to being a champion, being an advocate, and being a connector. So many of you might know we have two programs that we do run. That's not everything we do, but it is the way that a lot of folks connect with us. One is the artist exhibit program. And if you have ever participated in that, you'll know that we do a call to artists, which we're about to do every year. And artists from all around the county can submit art. And then we are in 17 galleries around the county where we are displaying that different artist art. And we are changing out those galleries 3 times a year, sometimes 4 times a year, depending on the gallery. But for the most part, we're doing them about 3 times a year. And so artists sometimes it's for new artists. That's their very first time they've ever had a showing. Some folks, I mean, obviously it's a way to get your art out. We're in most of the county buildings. We're in libraries and the hospitals. And so those 17 galleries are spread around. We are working with the folks that are building in Gladstone. And so we'll be in the Gladstone Library and then Oak Lodge also as that project comes on. We're having those conversations, and also the new courthouse. So we'll have over the next couple of years, 3 new galleries that we'll be able to have both fine arts displayed in, as well as we have 3D cabinets that makers and other artists can display their art when it's not hung up on a wall. The other program we have is a program called Youth Arts for Change, and we've had that program for several years now. And we have now settled in where we're working with 4 of the Todos Juntos after school programs. That's in Sandy, Estacada, Molalla, and Canby. I'm trying to think of the 4th. And so we're running year-round programs, including summer programming to those after-school programs, and then through the summer. We also have a long relationship with Parrot Creek. And we've been teaching to the boys at Parrot Creek for several years now, and just started this last fall, the beginning of this school year, started a 4-credit photography class. And that's because a lot of the boys that are staying at Parrot Creek are credit deficient. And so we were able to offer that, which has been really great. Other than that, we coordinate with other educators, but we don't try to replace something that's already happening. We're only in a couple of those areas where other folks aren't, or we have a really long-standing relationship with them. For a while, for several years, we were at juvenile justice, also teaching classes there, and juvenile justice is going through a little bit of a change now, so we're not participating with them, but we'll probably come back and do that just because that's been a long-standing relationship also. So those are 2 programs that we have. We also, a lot of folks will connect with us by knowing us as we are the fiscal agent for the Clackamas County Cultural Coalition. Around the state, cultural coalitions are given money to give out in grants to arts and culture organizations. And we serve as the fiscal agent for the local cultural coalition. So right now, in fact, if you're work with a nonprofit or you're part of a nonprofit arts and culture group, we have those, that grant process is open. It closes on November 7th. The application, you can find the application by going to our old website for a little bit longer. Or if you send me an email, I can send you information about the application. But those grants are given out. They're $2,500 grants, and they're project related grants. So if you have a project that you're interested in applying for, please do that. And then also watch the video. We have a video that's attached to that application that'll walk you through the whole application and tell you what to do and answer a bunch of your questions. So hopefully we have currently, normally we have about 27 to 30 applicants, and currently we only have 14. So we still have lots of space for the money that's going to be available this round. So please share that with anybody who might know and apply before the 7th. We are also currently leading 2 very large projects. So on top of trying to launch, in fact, you know what, I think I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry about that. Launch the new website. We have joined with leaders and community members from both Multnomah County and Washington County to join in what's currently being called the Tri-County Arts and Culture Plan, which will be the first time ever that all 3 counties are going to work together to create one big arts and culture plan. And then Clackamas County will be able to split off and have, know what our plan is, but all 3 counties are going to come together and join in a new plan. And that's going to be going on over this next year. There'll be lots of community conversations happening. We're going to try to, for Clackamas County, I'm going to try to make sure that we're in just about every corner of the county. So it might not be in your town, but you can come over and join some of those community conversations. I'm going to encourage everyone to do that. You don't have to be part of an arts and culture group to do that. You just have to care about what's going on in the community and come and give your input to that. The best way to keep track of that is after Monday, when we launch the new website, go in and sign up to get our newsletters and our e-blasts, and then we'll keep you posted on where those community conversations are happening and really encourage you to come and give your input to that. So about this time next year, we'll have this really comprehensive, amazing plan that will show what not only what the county needs or wants, but also how we might be able to pay for it. Now, that doesn't mean, that's going to happen overnight. It might be suggestions about that, but it'll at least have that funding overlay, which I think will be really important for all of us, as you try to pay for things around the county. The other thing that we're doing is called Arts and Economic Prosperity Surveys. And that is in conjunction with Americans for the Arts. Every 5 years, Americans for the Arts does a national survey about how arts and culture feeds and is an economic driver in every community. And the Arts Alliance is the coordinator for Clackamas County. And so if you see us out at an event and we ask you to fill out the survey, it just takes a couple of minutes. Please do that, because the more robust this survey is, the more it'll show how the economics and the kind of driver that we can be and are currently in the county. And because they do these every 5 years, we can match this is the 6th one that they've done. So we can look at the 5th one and the 6th one and see how much the county has grown and changed. And if you participate in any arts and culture, you'll know that it has changed a lot over the last 5 years. So we're super excited about that. So about this time next year, we'll have a new arts and culture plan, as well as the surveys will be done, and that'll be a really nice report that we'll be able to show folks. And then it'll also, if you all participate and we have really good turnout, you'll be able to take that back to your elected officials and funders and things like that and say, here's the kind of economics that arts and culture really bring, and be able to ask for funding and other resources that are needed. So that's a super exciting thing we're looking forward to. So those are two really big things that we're doing on top of the new website and the committees and all kinds of other things. So I think the other way people tie into us and connect with us is, and on the new website, we have an even better, really robust calendar now. So if you have any arts or culture activities that are going on, you can log in, upload your own event, attach a picture, and we put it out in the calendar. And then every Wednesday, to our full list of folks, we send out an e-blast that says, here's what's happening over the weekend. It's called the Weekend Watch. So you can find out if you're looking for something to do that weekend, you'll know what's happening around your area. That is also tied to a brand new, really cool mapping tool. So you'll have a map. If you want to look and see what's going on in your area, you'll be able to zoom in on that. We're separating it out by museums are a certain color, theaters are a certain color. And so you'll be able to search not only by what's in your area, but if you have people visiting from out of town, you want to take them to the theater, you want to know what plays are playing, you'll be able to sort by all of those things, and it'll tell you exactly where to go on the map. So we're super excited, because that's the other big thing that people always turn to the Arts Alliance for, is what's happening and how can I share the information out. So both of those things are really new and robust now, and we're super excited about that. Let's see. Currently, we know that the last time we did the economic study, that over $14.8 million was generated by arts and culture groups. That's through employing folks, that's in bringing people to town. So they're spending money in restaurants, they're spending money in hotels or Airbnbs or something like that. They're eating out, they're buying gas, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to be looking with this new report to see if we can get that number up even higher. And I think we will, just because we've seen a huge growth in artists and art galleries and folks moving to the area. So we're super excited about that. Let's see. I want to make sure I have time. I know that was like a really quick overview. One of the things I was asked to talk about is how you can get involved with us, or how we can support you all. I think if, just like with some of the new projects that are coming online, if you have a project and you want to know how to incorporate art into that, or if you want to talk to us about, like at the Gladstone Library, we're actually going to they're going to participate in the artist exhibit program. So they have art rotating through that at any given time. If you're looking for folks to serve on an arts committee or arts council, please reach out to us. We're happy to reach out to the folks that we know in the area that have arts background or have done that before. I'll ask you all after Monday on Halloween to go ahead and log into the new website, because the old one says it's under construction right now, because we're taking it down to load the new one. So on Halloween, you can log in, sign up to get our newsletter and things like that, and just follow us. If you have questions, please feel free to always reach out to one of us. And we're happy to answer those and happy to participate in some way. So I'm going to stop now and let folks ask questions if they want. How's that sound, Valerie?
I think that's great. That's a great presentation. So are there questions for Diane?
I'll go in the other room and listen to this. About which farms he goes near now. The library meeting. We're talking about whether to fund it or not.
This is asking a question. I wasn't sure.
No, I think she was coming on and was unmuted, and so we fixed that. Okay. Any? Go.
Greg has a question.
Greg, and then Linda.
Hey, Diane, just real quick, I was trying to make some notes when you were talking about the number of locations around the area that you have the galleries. What was that number
Yeah.
again?
We have 17 galleries, individual galleries.
Okay.
So for instance, if you go up to Red Soils, we're in both the PSB and DSB on
Yeah.
different floors. And so I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 galleries between those two buildings.
Okay.
6 galleries, maybe.
Thank you.
My question was when you were referencing putting events on your website, is it
On the calendar.
art events or is it crafts also? It's such like Christmas bazaars.
Yes, please. If you have a Christmas bazaar and you have artisans there, yes, please go to our website and there's a little form that'll ask you to fill in all the information and load a picture. Please do that. Especially we're going to, I think, start to on December. Well, no, I think it's right after Thanksgiving. A few of those things start. So we'll kick out a special holiday crafty things. One of the expansions, Linda, that we made in the past, I think people always thought of us as being like fine arts, right? We only dealt with folks that did fine arts. And we have an amazing, amazing group of makers and creatives in the county that we want to support also. So one of the expansions you'll hear us talk about a lot is with makers and creatives. So if you're a wood carver or a metalsmith or something like that, we want you to be part of our community, and we're going to start to elevate that group a lot more than I think we have in the past. So absolutely. Yeah. Hi, Tom.
You have a, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Okay. Hi, Diane. It's not so much a question as to say, thanks for everything you're doing, which is a lot. This is pretty impressive, and just how important it is for us to support arts and culture. So I appreciate getting that message out to all of us. It's important.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Tom is on our literary arts committee, and they're putting together that's probably the most active committee right now. They're putting together a writing contest. So they'll launch that right in the first of the year. So if you're a writer, there's an opportunity for you to participate and join in a contest and get some prizes. They're putting all together some really great stuff. So
It's the first time
we'll put that out too. Yeah.
It's the first time we've done this too, and it's going to be connected with the Clackamas Community College Compose.
Well, that all sounds really exciting. Are there other questions for Diane?
I have one.
Yes,
do
Sarah.
Do you guys also have film? Film?
Do not, I mean, yes, we would absolutely support film. We just haven't had anybody that has approached us. So yeah, if you are a filmmaker, yeah, that would be awesome. We'd love to have people join us doing that.
Okay.
Again, it's any kind of creative stuff going on in the county. We want to be, we want to help you elevate that. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Diane, thank you for presenting this evening. And anytime you have an announcement that you would like us to put out to our community, just send it to the Oak Grove Community Council. We'll see that it's out there. So,
Okay, thank you. That'd be great. Thank you all.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on to our update on Project Turnkey. Anna and Cole, do one or both of you need to be screen sharing?
No screen share. I think we can just chat.
I'm sorry?
No screen sharing needed. I think we both are just going to chat with y'all.
All right, great. That makes it really easy. Thank you very much. Cole Merkel and Anna Housley. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us here. I'm, for a little context on me, I'm Anna Hosley, pastor of Storyline Community, which is local here in Oak Grove, Milwaukee, and lead organizer of Clackamas Land and Housing Cohort, which is a coalition of faith communities and neighbors leveraging their land and resources to meet the housing needs of our community. And Cole, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Cole Merkel. I am the co-director of the Here Together Coalition. 2.5 years ago, Here Together brought forth the Metro region-wide supportive housing services measure, $2.5 billion to tackle homelessness. And we are now continuing to ensure that that measure reaches its full potential.
And we are here to loop you in today on Project Turnkey, because I think we're at a really critical moment for our county, and we've learned how incredibly important it is for constituents to be really informed about those moments and a part of our public process. I am curious just to how many of you, whoever is able to raise their hands, have heard about Project Turnkey? Okay, nice. Okay, so you have a basic sense of it. That's great. I will give you kind of just some of the like 101 basics of Project Turnkey and the problem that it's attempting to have an impact on, and what we know about it, about sort of what works about this kind of program. And then Cole's going to give us a rundown on the fiscal end of things. So in 2020, the Oregon legislature allocated a total of $65 million for Project Turnkey for the purpose of acquiring motels or hotels for use as non-congregate shelter for people either experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness or displaced by wildfires. And that was a really successful program. In less than 7 months, it created 19 new shelters in 13 counties, leading to a 20% increase in the state's supply of shelter beds. Clackamas County, unfortunately, was not one of those. We applied for the first round of Project Turnkey and were approved for next steps, but ultimately got derailed somewhere in the due diligence phase and really just weren't able to execute that opportunity the first time around. So we missed out on that. But the good news is that we have another shot at it. So this year, the legislature approved an additional $50 million for Project Turnkey because of the success of that first round. And Clackamas County was one of really just a handful of projects that were selected out of more than 40 applicants to move forward through the due diligence phase to acquire a hotel that would be then cost-free to the county. So right now, the county is doing due diligence on 2 hotels, and that is Clackamas Inn & Suites and Comfort Suites, which are both sort of right outside of Johnson City, at like around that junction of I-205 and 212. And actually, both of these hotels, some people don't realize this, are currently being used for shelter by local service providers already. We just don't own the hotel, which means we're paying a very costly nightly market rate and really don't have the ability to manage the hotel then as well as we could. So the purchase of one of these is really a pretty big opportunity for us, both to be sort of fiscally responsible with our funds and also to create a space that's more stable and effective for both the residents who stay there as well as the surrounding neighborhood. I'm going to just give like a couple little bites that many of you here I know are familiar with, but sort of like why we need Project Turnkey and this kind of shelter. And it's because this is infrastructure that's really low in Clackamas County. Our infrastructure around housing is low kind of all across the housing spectrum. So due to just like a really long-standing shortfall of housing over the last 2 decades, we're really low. And every 100 families with extremely low incomes, for them, there are only 24 affordable units available. So that's every 100 families, only 24 housing units. That's not enough. So as many of you probably know, many of our cities in Clackamas County are rent or mortgage burdened, which means that at least a quarter of the city spends such a high percentage of income on rent or mortgage that they're just sort of kept at the razor's edge of stability, which means that a medical emergency, a sudden loss of income, just being on a fixed income, or a family emergency can really too easily push someone over that edge. And I think anecdotally, I've experienced that. At Storyline, we're often a resource to our neighbors in this way, and we've walked with more and more folks who become homeless for the first time in their lives over the past few years. I'm thinking of a full-time childcare provider who is one of the hardest working women I think I've ever met, who became homeless for the first time. I'm thinking also of a mom fleeing domestic violence with 2 small kiddos who was told the wait list for transitional housing was 2 to 10 years. And that was a surprise to me. A couple with 2 kiddos is also in my head right now who had no place to park the RV that was keeping them alive. And I think the common theme here is that we need more stable ground. We need places of transition that give folks a necessary breath to get back on their feet instead of spiral deeper into the chaos and the trauma of houselessness. And what we know is that this is not some like radical bleeding heart proposal, but really basic community infrastructure that we've historically been lacking in Clackamas County, which means that when so many of our neighbors have literally no place to call home, it really affects all of our community. The good news is that we know that this hotel model works right here in our own county, because many of our service providers have used this hotel shelter model since the beginning of the pandemic and are continuing to use it because it's proven more effective than the models they've used in the past. Maybe one good learning that came out of the pandemic. And we hear story after story from these service providers that reflect the reality that this works. Just this week, one provider told me about a family who got stabilized in one of those hotels and was able to enroll their 5-year-old in school for the first time this year. And another neighbor who started in a hotel was able to stabilize and find permanent housing and is now stable enough to care for another person, an elderly parent who also needed help, which reflects that just basic idea that when we invest in that infrastructure, our community stabilizes. I was recently on a call, a public meeting with Deputy District Attorney Bill Stewart, and he told a really interesting story, which is that local police have consistently seen emergency calls lower steadily as supportive services have gone up in those neighborhoods with hotel shelter, which is like really interesting, but actually not that surprising, right? Because we know that a safe place to call home is a basic necessity for a stable and flourishing community. So Cole, I'm wondering if you can tell us about the dollars of it all.
Yeah, I'll get to brass tacks, and apologies, I had my laptop crash at the absolute most inconvenient moment, so I am glad to be on my phone now. So just to make sure y'all are aware, there are 2 hotels that the county is currently considering. The Clackamas Inn and Suites and the Comfort Inn, both right around in unincorporated Clackamas County, not quite in our unincorporated neighborhood, but right around 205 and 82nd Avenue. The thing that's really great about Project Turnkey is that it is actually a grant from the state. The legislature awarded allocated $50 million toward purchasing hotels in this second round. Previously, there were actually more than 13 communities that took part in this in 2020, and were able to increase the state's shelter capacity by 20% in just 7 months through purchasing hotels that were already being used for shelters. The thing that's great here is that this is a win-win situation. The county is already spending market rate every single night to get people housed and safe in these hotels and in hotels across the county. They've been doing that since the pandemic hit. When COVID started and many of us had to lock our own doors, it became very apparent very quickly that folks experiencing houselessness could not stay in congregate shelters in ways that were safe. And so vulnerable folks went into hotels across the state. Clackamas County has been spending money every single night at market rate to rent hotels. So this is a wonderful opportunity for our county commissioners to purchase a hotel and therefore save money in the long run. And none of it's going to be part of the general fund.
the thing that I have heard a lot, the question that I get a lot in these conversations is, sure, the state's bringing money in to buy it, but how are we going to operate it long term? I have some great news there for you. So remember when I introduced myself and said that I helped spearhead the homeless services measure? That measure is implemented, it's up and running, and it is projected to bring in close to $500 million over the course of the next 10 years to fund homeless services in Clackamas County. Just for a little bit of context, in 2020, Clackamas County spent $6.6 million on homelessness between Clackamas County general funds, state and federal funds. In just the last year, most of it coming within the last 3 months of the fiscal year, Clackamas County received $44.6 million specifically earmarked for homelessness. They are expected to get an additional $42.7 million between now and June 30th. They budgeted so far $32.2 million. And in just the first 3 months of the fiscal year, so June through September 30th, they received $9.6 million. Again, all local funding, all from the Metro Supportive Housing Services measure, and entirely earmarked toward addressing and tackling homelessness. So if Clackamas County can take this grant from the state, we have the money on hand to make sure that we are operating this hotel long term. And frankly, I would argue that it is a very good governance investment to take dollars from different sources, like a state fund, to buy a hotel, and then use locally raised funds to be able to operate that long term to tackle the biggest challenge in our community. There are amazing ways that you can actually get involved in making sure the county commissioners go forward with purchasing this hotel. First and foremost, and Anna, I sent you an email since my laptop crashed. I'm wondering if you can drop the links in the chat box. First and foremost, the county has a survey out right now where they're gathering feedback from residents in the community to talk about Project Turnkey. Anna and I put together some talking points, and we're asking folks to fill that survey out as soon as possible to show the commissioners how much this means to you and how great of an investment this is. Beyond that, every single Thursday between now and the time that the hotel is purchased, Anna is doing some incredible organizing with her faith communities and leaders to show up in person at the county commission to testify in support of this. And if you're interested in doing that, Anna, I'll turn it to you. Please share any feedback you've got on how they can do that.
I would love to know if you're interested in doing it. We are just kind of trying to keep track of that, having sort of a sense of who's going to be testifying in support of Project Turnkey. Tomorrow is a pretty significant meeting for sort of a scattered, a lot of reasons. So if any of you happen to be available to go to the Board of County Commissioners meeting and would like to be in support of Project Turnkey, can you let me know? I'm going to drop my email in the chat. Spoiler alert, we're actually even just showing up with our bodies to voice support. So you don't even have to give public testimony tomorrow. You can just travel with us and represent your support with your body. So let me know if you are available for that. And I think that's all we got. Is that right, Cole?
Yeah. Any, Valerie, I don't know if we have time for questions.
We have time for a question or two. If people have questions. All right. Well, let me say that I really appreciate the information that you gave to us. I thought it was very helpful to hear not only about the facilities that are under consideration and where they are to purchase, but also about the funding. I think that is very helpful. So thank you both very much for being here. And with that, we're going to move on. And our next person, oh, Mark, you had a question.
Yeah, thanks, Valerie. Just a quick question for you both. So as I understand from your presentation then that the money to purchase the hotels is being provided through state funding. Right, but it does require approval by the Board of County Commissioners in order to proceed with the purchase, because it will become a county property. Is that correct?
That's correct. The funding was administered by was approved by the state. It's being administered through the Oregon Community Foundation. And so OCF is treating it like any grant. Clackamas County applied along with 45 other organizations and municipalities, and they were one of 13 that were approved to move forward. But that approval is contingent on them finding a property, getting it negotiated, and getting the BCC to approve. In total, I think the county or the state was expecting that they would fund 10 properties, and they've awarded 12. So time really is of the essence, because it's kind of first come, first served until the money runs out.
Okay, thank you.
Jane, you had a question?
Yes, Cole, I wonder if the funds provided from the state are also going to be providing sufficient funds for upkeep and operation of the facilities.
I believe the funds from the state are specifically for the purchase of the building, and the longer term operations would obviously the daily operations, as I already mentioned, could be covered through supportive housing services. Upkeep kind of TBD there.
Right. Well, thank you. We need to move on unless there was a compelling other question for the moment. Thank you again for being here, and appreciate your input. Craig Van Valkenburg from the Willamette View Manor, you're up. So,
all right, thank you, Valerie. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for giving me a few minutes tonight to update you on one thing and share another item with you. I do have to say that I kind of feel like what I'm going to share is a bit insignificant compared to the conversation that Anna and Cole just had, given the magnitude of the challenge that we have in Clackamas County. But nonetheless, I have one thing that I shared with you actually in July of 2021 that I want to provide an update on. So I'm going to do my best to share my screen, and let's see, I'm disabled. So do I need to do something to show you a picture? Can you see that? No. Okay. Share screen.
hang on, Craig, I need to get you. I didn't know you were going to need to share your screen, so I need to find you in my list. And
all right. So while she's doing that, I'll just give you a quick update on it. So in July of last year, we talked about the crosswalk across River Road to Park Avenue that we had been working with the county on to get resolved. So it was a result of the project that we built on the north end of our property on River Road, and we had to line up Park Avenue with our front entrance and create more of a T intersection for River and Park. So part of that was to put a crosswalk across River Road. And at the time, we had a design for it. Actually, it was similar to what Rosevilla has, and the county did not want us to place that type of crosswalk signal on the street. So we went back and forth for quite some time. The costs got pretty expensive, upwards of about $400,000. And so we just kind of backed away and said, we're not going to be able to pay for that level of investment in the or expense into the crosswalk. So let's see.
You should be able to share now.
There we go. You see that? So the dotted line across the road where my cursor is, that's the crosswalk. So the good news, and actually the Oak Grove Community Council wrote a letter in support to the county to put this crosswalk in to support pedestrian traffic along River Road, crossing over and up and down Park, which greatly appreciated because I think it had an impact on their decision-making process. So we learned last week. So here we are, October of 2022. We learned last week that the county did receive, they applied for a grant for funding for either all or a portion of the crosswalk. That's yet to be determined. They received a grant from HUD for $145,000. So we are now back at the table with them. We've provided our plans that we had. We provided our permit for the work that we were doing in this road and said, great, you carry the ball, tell us what you need from us, and let's get a plan in place for this crosswalk to happen. So we have just essentially traded emails back and forth with the folks in charge. The county said they take responsibility through the Department of Transportation to approve the crosswalk and actually install it. And then, you know, we'll do whatever we need to do to help to get that done. So the good news is, after all this time, we've got some action and movement, and with the hope that we'll see a crosswalk. There is no time certain at this point. So my guess is, you know, it's going to take 6 to 10 months probably for it to go through the approval process and get installed. But we will achieve the objective of getting a crosswalk for safe passage over River Road at some point in time. So I want to share that with you. I felt it was good news because I know how much foot traffic and bike traffic there is out there, and that it's taken a long time, but I think it's been a good community effort to work with the county to get us this far. So I will keep you apprised as we go forward with any updates that we receive from the county, and hopefully you'll see construction out there at some point. Any questions on this? I have one other quick thing for the council.
If you, okay, Glenn, you had a question?
Yes, I was wondering whether this one if there would be two crosswalks that apart.
Can't hear him, Valerie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was wondering, there already is a crosswalk a block away on Evergreen Street. Would this crosswalk replace that, or would there be two crosswalks close together on River Road?
When we did the construction and applied for the permit, it was going to be a new crosswalk, not to replace the existing one. But I will make sure that we get that question answered and bring it back, because well, let me ask you, are you in favor of two or one? I mean, that's an important question.
That's our street.
Yeah.
So that's a crosswalk we use, but you know, we have to balance what the motorists need too, and there can't be too many stops on a thoroughfare like that, or people will start going through the neighborhoods. So
okay,
there's a balance somewhere, and somebody with more traffic savvy than me, they should probably figure out the equation.
Okay, I'll make sure we ask that question or get that answered.
I might add to that too. Currently there's a bus stop at Evergreen.
Yep.
And so that crosswalk is used.
Yep.
And so that might also be part of the adjustment that needs to be made.
Yeah, I have a number of employees that use that bus stop, so. Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? If not, I'll pop up the next slide. So this is maybe a little bit more on the fun side, I hope. We, over the last couple of years, have accumulated lots of stuff, furniture, clothing, appliances, you name it, that we weren't able to do much with during the pandemic. So we're going to have a garage sale. And you are all invited to the garage sale. So it's going to be November 17 and 18. It's going to be for 2 days. And if there's a place that would be appropriate for me to share this post, I'd be happy to do it. We will have parking and logistics, and there'll be a lot of us available to help people load vehicles with whatever treasures they find. But I wanted to put it out to Oak Grove community and say you are all welcome. And we would love to see you, and certainly love the help of moving a lot of the stuff that we have around here. We don't want it to go to a landfill. We'd rather have it go to people. So that's just the other thing that I wanted to share with you is an upcoming garage sale.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Craig while he's here?
I had one get, Valerie. Oh, I just wonder, is this stuff you're referring to the property of the facility or the occupants or everyone?
Good question, Jane. It's the property of Willamette View. So we are a nonprofit organization, and when people move out of their apartment, and oftentimes we deal with families who are not local. The families oftentimes will donate a lot of furniture and kitchen items and clothing to us. We have a couple of little shops on our campus that are resale. We try to just move it through as quickly and efficiently as we can. In some cases, we end up accumulating a lot of furniture, a lot of household items, and a lot of appliances that might come out of apartments that we're remodeling. So we're at a point where we would like to unload as much as we possibly can, because we have stored things for, in some cases, a couple of years around here. So
Diane, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to check with Craig. That's Thursday and Friday, Craig, both
Yeah.
days?
Yep.
So we should come early on Thursday? Is that maybe the key?
Yes, and stay as long as you want.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thank you again, Craig. And that's terrific news about the crosswalk. So, I mean, I'm really thrilled that we finally got some movement with the county, because the safety of people on River Road is really
paramount. Yeah,
really important.
Good, thank you.
Okay, and so now moving on, we have Brian Goodrich here, who's with the Clackamas County Fire District. Welcome.
Hello, thank you all for having me. The fire district's been extremely busy, but we realized we needed to reach out to our community stakeholders and let them know that we're here wanting to support you in any neighborhood issues or questions that you may have. That's part of why I'm here, to represent your fire department and provide anything that I can that would help you or your neighbors with anything pertaining to fire or emergency services. So I have 7 quick talking points to go over real quick, just to give you an overview of what your fire department's been up to. In August, we responded to 2,523 calls for service. For the year to date, that's a little bit less than what we were in 2021, but most of them have not been very catastrophic like a couple summers ago. Currently, the month of October is Fire Prevention Month. Our theme is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. We want to encourage everyone to have a fire escape plan at their home, especially at some of the communities that are multi-family dwellings, where that's really important, because it's not just you that could have an accident. It could be one of your neighbors that could also affect you. During October, we have been hosting open houses. We have one left that will be at Station 18, which is in Eagle Creek, on October 31st. A lot of kids come by in their costumes, and it's a fun event. We had one at your fire station, Oak Grove Fire Station, on October 15th, and we had a pretty good attendance, and it will occur next year as well. It's an opportunity for you to come to the fire station, see what your tax dollars are paying for, and also answer any questions or any helpful advice that we can pass on to you. We did just open up backyard burning. That doesn't necessarily really apply in this area unless you're having a recreational fire, which would be like a hot dog roast in your backyard, or something that's a clean burning material, not cleaning up your backyard or anything like that, that can happen outside of the city limits or outside of the DEQ area. With fall right around the corner, we want to remind everyone to inspect their heating equipment to ensure everything's working properly. And the last week, a lot of heaters and furnaces have turned on, and a lot of that residual dust that builds up over the summertime makes a little bit of a smell, and sometimes it can actually smoke the house up a little bit. And so there's been a few people that have had that scare. That's just some of those things that happen in our homes every year that we need to kind of just focus and maintain, and maybe get those inspected if there's an issue with them. Currently, we're hosting an entry-level firefighter academy that started in October. All of these hires are for attrition, not for increasing staffing at this point. We're also working on the 2022 Operation Santa Plan, which is where we drive around the neighborhoods and collect toys and food for kids and families in need. For your fire station here, we responded to, and we average about a little over 300 calls a month for service. And we also are housing new employees that we're training on a daily basis with that type of call volume. So with that, that's the information that the fire department wanted me to share with you. But I'm happy to take any questions or provide anything else that I can.
Thank you. Linda.
Yes, you mentioned an event you had on October 15th here at the Grove. Where did we find out that information? I didn't even know it was happening.
On our social media and our websites, we didn't advertise it as much because we are just coming out of a pandemic. However, I believe that in Pamplin media, as well as a couple of other community sites that we posted each open house. On an annual basis, October is Fire Prevention Month, and so each year we try and open up 4 to 5 fire stations to open up to the community and provide tours and that kind of thing.
So you're saying that it would be in the Clackamas Review?
Yes.
And also the fire department website?
Yes. And
what is that website?
It's clackamasfire.com.
Okay.
And we also have social media sites, I believe on Facebook and Instagram and maybe Twitter. I don't.
Well, that would be for younger people than me.
Me too.
Well, and also Brian has let us know that he is willing to come to our meetings on a regular basis. So hopefully we get some information sharing that way, and he can always send us an email, and we can send that out to everyone too if he's not able to be present. So
and actually speaking to that, Valerie, thank you for saying that. Tonight I'm not on duty, even though I'm in uniform. I wanted to represent for the first meeting, but I will probably be participating from home. If I am on duty, I will probably just ask if I can present right away at the beginning of the meeting, because we'll probably get called away during the meeting.
Good reminder. Thanks, Brian. Craig, you had your hand up, and then
yeah, thank you. Just real quick. So Brian, nice to meet you. I'm actually on the emergency services board, the foundation board.
Oh, great.
And so we support, as you know, the Operation Santa Claus, which is a wonderful program. So based on your comment about, going through the neighborhoods and picking up the gifts, which is the big part of the Operation Santa, I'll offer up that if for the community, accessibility to dropping off a gift at some point might be of benefit, I'd be happy to work with you and the community to have a place where on our campus where people could drop off gifts. If you had some of your guys over here to pick them up sometime, we could arrange a Saturday or an evening or something if that would be convenient for folks.
I believe most of the fire stations we've had drop boxes. I'm not sure how that will work coming out of the pandemic, but I will work with you 100%, and anything we can do to collect more items is great.
Yeah, because we'll actually have a tree here at Willamette View for people to provide gifts, and then we'll package those up and make sure they get to you. So we always have barrels on our campus for Operation Santa. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And one thing that Craig was referring to is our Emergency Services Foundation. Each fire engine carries $200 on it in a lockbox. But it's for when we come across somebody that's in need, and provide it. Also, we can use that to provide a cab for somebody that's either going to the hospital or needs a ride to get out of the weather, or maybe to the Comfort Inn or Suites. But that foundation is probably one of the best parts of my job. We get to really help somebody in their time of need financially with donations that the community has given, as well as most firemen also provide or donate to that as well, just because some of the things that come up with that are just so odd that you couldn't predict it or ever think of it, let alone a house fire or something as tragic as that. But just over the summer in Oak Grove, a gal had her dog unfortunately attacked by a coyote. Right. And we were able to provide funds to her and get her dog taken care of for her. And I was part of that. And that was something that really was rewarding. So Craig, thank you for taking part of that foundation. And that's a good example of why I'm here, to just kind of share some of those things.
So we had a question in the chat box wanting to know the name of the foundation again, and how could people give to it? So
it's the Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation, and it has a website that you can go to, probably cesf.org, I guess. And that's where you would find it, or on the Fire Services website, Clackamas Fire District website.
Thank you.
And while we're plugging, we actually have an auction dinner coming up. I hadn't even thought about mentioning that on November 12th. So if anybody's interested in an auction dinner that supports the foundation for the fire district, I can send you some information on it.
Lots of information to loop in here.
Yeah.
Rich, go ahead. You have your hand up.
Yeah, well, first, Craig, send us a little blurb about that, and we'll put it in our next mailing, which should come out before the 12th. I just put a link to where you could send things.
Yeah, great, thank you.
And what I wanted to do was ask when we could possibly use the firehouse for meetings, and if you're going to have it be set up at all for hybrid Zoom and in-person meetings.
That is a great question, Richard. Thank you for asking. I meant to address that. Right now, this fire station, we've been doing a little remodeling, and the community room has been changed into some office space. However, that's getting cleared out. So we're in process right now. I have asked your question to my supervisors, and I will let you know as soon as I hear back. I'll email you directly and let you know the status of that room, or when that room will become available.
Okay, I asked not only for the community council, but also for CERT, which you guys are in charge of ultimately. We used to meet at your firehouse, and of course we haven't since the pandemic. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, I want to thank you for being present tonight and for your information that you've given to us. And we look forward to having you come and to be with us on a more regular basis. And we will let you go first. I just want to assure people, I asked when he arrived if he needed to be on that first tonight, and he said no. So I just clear that up. Yes, we didn't make him wait through something when he was on the clock. So again, thank you for being here.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
So next on our agenda would be our LUART. And what I have on my agenda is that land use application review team. So is there anyone on the review team here tonight that has anything to add on LUART? Since Joseph is not here, he was not well this morning. So Mark, thank you.
Just a very brief announcement that we did receive an application for Concord School for planning department rezoning of that property for the new community center and library. So that is just came in today, and that will be part of LUART's job here in the very near future to review that application.
Well, that sounds exciting. So that's good to know it's coming in. All right, well, let's move on with our committee updates. Rich, do you want to give us an update from CERT?
I'd be happy to. CERT is holding an in-person basic CERT class for people who are interested in being part of CERT. CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team. Basically, it's people who get some training in order to be prepared if something major happens, not just the big earthquake, but the fire storms, the smoke storms, the bad weather, hot, cold, whatever it might be. We are offering training, and you have to be trained in order to be a part of CERT. And so we're going to be offering classes. I did put a link in the chat to how to contact us at the community council. That'll get directed to me, and I'll get it directed to the CERT team. Also, the Milwaukee and the Oak Lodge CERTs got small grants from the Halloran Foundation, where the same folks that gave us a grant to get repeater radios. One of the things that the CERTs do is we have plans to be able to make communications internally amongst different people in Clackamas County and in the Oak Lodge area, but also to be able to get communications outside of where we are to larger places to know what's going on and what's needed when communication lines go down. We have a repeater that's been installed and I think at Rose Villa, and we will be using the grant that we got for better weatherization for the repeater and for emergency power for the CERT team, so that if we don't have power available, we'll be able to recharge batteries in iPhones and things like that to keep people informed of what's going on. That's it for CERT.
Thank you. While you're up and you're unmuted, do you want to report on the CPO Summit?
Sure. The CPO Summit, one of the chief issues that are being discussed is zoning compliance. The office, the county claims that they don't have enough investigators to respond to all complaints. And the various CPOs feel like this is a major thing that should be addressed. It can't be that people can violate zoning and do whatever they want without being challenged on it, just because we don't have enough people to enforce the ordinances. And we're hoping that the BCC, the Board of County Commissioners, hears that this is a county-wide needed place for expense. And while I'm here, the CCI, which is the citizens involvement, concerned citizens involvement, is working on becoming a more meaningful advisory group to the Board of County Commissioners. The county hired a specialist to evaluate community engagement, and his report will be forthcoming by the end of November. Early reports indicate that the county will be hearing about the need for CPOs, which is what we are as a community council. We're also the official CPO for the county. CPOs are authorized by the state, and we have to exist, though some of them are lagging in existence. So CPOs should be better heard by the county, that they can be better heard, and often are more than just planning organizations. A lot of CPOs like us are community councils, and we tend to get involved in more things than just planning issues. So that is going on. The CCI has recently been reconstituted. There's new leadership, there's new members, and the CPOs officially are who the CCI is officially who CPOs report to. And the CCIs make sure that their voice gets heard by the county. And as a member of the CCI, I can tell you that the CCI is working on making sure that that actually happens.
Thank you, Rich. Do we have someone here for Concord Library? Mark, is that you? Yay.
Yeah, just so a quick update for the Concord Library project. The Board of County Commissioners did allocate $9 million of ARPA funds to the Oak Lodge Library construction at the recent BCC meeting here about 2 weeks or a week ago. That's in addition to $6 million that was allocated to the Gladstone Library. And so the intent of those two, of the $15 million in total, is that the two libraries would be constructed at the same time. Right now, both projects are on hold until around May of next year, before the BCC will make a decision about next steps to start construction. The library here in Oak Grove is under design, still under design, and that design is intended to be completed by May. So we're hopeful that with community input to the BCC, that the two libraries construction will start next summer. So that's good news, but there's still more work to be done on our part to make sure that these two projects stay on track as far as being built and finished. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Suzanne, do you have an update from HDOG?
Yes, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Valerie. I am Suzanne Wolf, and I am president of HDOG Historic Downtown Oak Grove. And for those of you who may not know, our mission is to revitalize the historic downtown area of Oak Grove, and also to establish positive social and economic and also community growth for all of Oak Grove businesses and residents. I have two announcements tonight. One is tomorrow at 2 o'clock is the HDOG board meeting. We have been meeting in person, but due to a special request, we will be meeting virtually tomorrow. If you would like to attend, I will enter my email address for you. It is open to all of you as well as the public. And I can send you the Zoom invite if you would like to join us. Basically, on our agenda tomorrow, we will have a guest speaker from the New Urban High School, and we will be discussing how we can develop a partnership with the high school. And then also too, there will be a discussion about the possibility of forming a coalition with other organizations, businesses in the area to develop a project and that would have significant impact on in the Oak Grove area. So that's on our agenda for tomorrow. And then let's see, this Sunday, please come if you have children, grandchildren, neighbors who would like to attend the trunk or treat that the HDOG has organized in partnership with the Oak Grove United Methodist Church. So that will be held this Sunday, starting at 4 o'clock. It's a 3-hour event, so it will end at 7 o'clock. And if needed, bring an umbrella with you. But this is free to everyone. And so please spread the word. And then I also want to just mention thank you to the Oak Grove Community Council for your donation, and also to the Oak Lodge Water Services District has supported us with this event, along with the Awakening Coffee Shop. So we appreciate that, and it helped us to meet our budget for this event. Okay, that's it, Valerie. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Good. I was at the EDC meeting, the Economic Development Committee meeting this morning. And the topic this morning was actually on tourism in Clackamas County, which is, I always learn things when I go to those meetings, even if they are at 7:30 in the morning. Part of what they were talking about was that all of Clackamas County is part of the Mount Hood territory as far as a tourism area. So, and that makes sense. So many people come, anybody that comes from further than 50 miles away is considered a tourist coming into Clackamas County. And that while they might enjoy the mountain for a day or two or whatever, there's many other things in Clackamas County. So there's a lot of economic stimulation from tourism in our county. But the figures they gave us in 2019, there was $5.5 million that came into the county through tourism. In 2020, there was $220 million. So that's the crash that it took during the pandemic. In 2021, it was back up to $4.5 million. And so it's still not up to the 5.5 that was in 2019, but I understand 2019 was kind of a bumper year anyway, but they're hoping to get up. And one of the drawbacks, of course, is like in so many industries, is that there's lots of jobs open. So there was, they lost so many jobs in tourism during the pandemic. And that's come back, except that there's not people to fill the jobs. So that's still one of the rough spots. But again, the Economic Development Commission usually provides interesting things for information about our county and what they're doing, and that they're working on their final report. And they will not be meeting again until January. So hopefully by January, I can get up to another 7:30 in the morning meeting. Is there anyone here from the Bike Ped Advisory Committee? That's again something that Joseph does when he's here. Okay, if not. Okay, well, let's move on to announcements. And as we start with announcements, and not to put anybody on the spot, but a little bird told me that Thelma had passed a significant marker. We're not going to say what that marker is, but last week. But congratulations, Thelma. We're glad you're around and with us.
Thank you all. She's talking about my 90th birthday party that I had last Saturday.
Woohoo! Are there any announcements tonight?
Yeah, I have my hand up.
Okay, Rich.
Very short thing. I saw tonight in my email, there was a media release from Clackamas County that the vehicle registration fee for light utility trailers begins in January. For those of you who have light utility trailers that you need to register, prices going down. There was a lot of uproar about that when they tried to use that as a ways of funding some of the roads. That's it.
Okay. Any other announcements for us tonight for the good of the order?
I have some as soon as I can find it. There is, oh, here it is. The North Clackamas Watersheds Council is having some workshops on November 8th, 9th, and 10th on Zoom during the lunch hour. And the information will be in the CIA newsletter. I just received that today.
Great, thank you. And Linda, you have an announcement?
Not an announcement. I have a question of anybody that's on the land use board. If there's any information about the progress at Gigi's restaurant property. Would
Mark,
anybody
you might be the only one that can answer that.
I wish I did know. I live about half a block away and I have to look at that silly thing every day. You know, I will look into that, Linda, and find out. It seems to be stalled for some reason. I do know that the developer has permits from the county and it's now just waiting for them to get started. You've probably seen signs go up and down about the contractor being there and then all of a sudden to go down. And I'd just like for them to cut their weeds. If they could at least do that, that'd be kind of nice. So I will find out some more and perhaps I can report out at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So next meeting. So this is, Rich, is your hand still up or okay, I just want to make sure that I catch you. We meet on the fourth Wednesday of the month, like clockwork, until we get to the end of the week of the year. And this is our last fourth Wednesday meeting of this year. Our next meeting, general meeting, will be on the first Wednesday of December. That is December the 7th. And it is will be the meeting for both November and December. So one meeting coming up for the towards the end of the year. Just a reminder, and that always goes out on our minutes and our statements. It's on our website, but I think it's helpful just to remind us all that this is that time of year when we move the meeting. So first Wednesday of December, and the next board meeting will not be until February. So you'll get information about that as well as we're coming up. So before we close, and we will stay on for anybody that wants to socialize a little bit, just chat and talk with people. But because it's that time of year and we're all citizens in our area, I just want to encourage everybody to remember to vote. It's always important. It might not be a presidential year, but all of anything that's important in our county is and in our area on the ballot. Be sure to vote. And it's convenient. So there we go. And with that, unless there is anything else, I'll call this meeting to a close and stop recording so that we can